was his Icebreaker speech. So you're just about ready for that, JL. I'll just do the introduction quickly. It's his first speech, and the Icebreaker is really about introducing himself to us, and that's what he aims to do. For the last 4 decades, Jay has been rather busy. That's why, as his title suggests, he's aiming to become more human being than human doing. So with more human being than human doing, please welcome Jay.
Thank you. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, as you just heard, I'm going to introduce myself to you this evening. And my speech is entitled More Human Being Than Human Doing, because I've been so busy for the last 4 decades, a little under. So what I'm going to tell you, first of all, who I am, and also a little bit about some of my future hopes. And one of the things I've probably picked up already is I've crossed many borders in my time. And it occurred to me that each time I arrive at a border, someone essentially asks me, who are you? They want to know who is this person coming into their country. And so you produce your passport and you hand it across, and that tells them who you are. So I had a look in my passport, yeah, and apart from a picture that makes me look like I'm about to do time, it simply tells you that my name is Jeremy Lamb, that I'm a British citizen, that I was born on the 8th of June 1969 in Kitwe in Zambia. But that seems to have been enough for the guys at the border, but I don't imagine it's going to be enough for you lot tonight. So I thought, if I'd met you, what might you ask me to try and find out who is this guy? I thought one of the questions that often comes up is, where are you from? And this is a question that's kind of haunted me my entire life. People say, where are you from? And some people can say, oh, Linlithgow. Simple as that. That's what I say now. But my problem is that I've actually lived in 39 different homes. And I would call a home anywhere that you give your address if you're asked for it. So I've lived in 39 different homes. So where am I from is rather a long story, and probably too long for tonight. But it has been from Africa through southern England, up through some of northern England, a bit of Scotland, a bit of Australia, America, a bit of time in Europe. So it's been lots of moving around, rather busy. Too long for tonight. So the other question you might ask me is, what do you do? That one pops up early enough, I mean often enough. And a little while ago, when I was travelling a lot, I used to answer by saying, whatever needs doing. And it was a bit of a flippant comment really, but it was true. I would turn up at a place, and if a fence needed repairing, I would become a fencer. I went to Miami after the hurricane had blown through and became a roofing contractor. A lot of roofs needed fixing. And everywhere I've turned up, I've basically picked up whatever needs doing. And that's seen me as a medical guinea pig at one point. It's seen me run an international environmental organisation for 6 months whilst someone was away on maternity leave. And it's ultimately brought me to what I do now, which is looking after a bunch of canal boats on the canal, because I felt there were lots of folks that didn't get to engage with it, and I wanted them to be able to. And so it's built to that. It's something I thought needed doing. So that's what I do. But if I were to go through every one of those jobs, it's more than 39. I know that, because I've had at least one job everywhere that I've lived. So it's quite a CV, and I've never written it. So I won't go through it too long. But I could perhaps tell you about my family. That's what it says in the manual. Talk about your family. So I have a brother. Well, actually, I have one sort of full brother, but I ought to include my half-brother as well. I'm just as close to him. But if I include my half-brother, then I should probably include my 2 half-sisters, since they're also part of my dad's second marriage. And then you think, well, if I'm going to include my dad's second marriage, I should include my mum's as well. Which brings me another 2 stepsisters. And instead of being one of 2, I've become one of 7. But the problem is that they've all got parents and they've all got children. And if I describe the whole lot to you, we'll be here all night. And also I'm a bit confused myself following a recent divorce in the family. I'm not quite sure where my family ends. So maybe family's not the place to go. So instead, I'll concentrate on my future hopes. I've got 3 really. One is to be in one place. They're all things I want to be being. So one is being in one place. As I said, I've lived in 39 different homes, and for about 10 years now I've had an ambition. And it's a simple ambition. It was to be old, to have lived more years than I have had homes. And in 2 months' time I turned 40. at which point I will be 40 years old and I'll have lived in 39 homes, so long as nothing goes wrong in the next couple of months. And I hope to continue that, and I hope to get to a point where actually the numbers aren't even close anymore. So I'm planning on sticking around on Lithgow for a while. So that's one of my future hopes. My other one is to spend time being content. I've already told various tales and stories of my sort of daring do's and adventures that I've had. But the truth is, although they're great fun and it's been very exciting, I've never really been content. So I'm looking to become content. It seems like a big, deep, kind of more robust experience than happy or having fun. So contentment's one thing I'm looking for. And the final one is an even more distant goal than that, is I'm planning on being a grandparent. I know, you wouldn't believe it, would you? I'm planning on being a grandparent who knows his grandchildren really well. And that is a far distant one, because at the moment I'm not even a parent. So there's a bit of a distance to go. I've come close to being a parent 4 times now, and each time's ended in tragedy. So that's part of me as well. But my hope is that I will continue, and at some point I'll become that grandparent that knows his grandchildren really well. Because I think if you know your grandchildren really well, that says a lot about your relationship with your children too. So that's the other one I'm aiming for. And each of those 3 things require me to stop, to slow down, to become steadier, and to ultimately spend more time as a human being, and a little less time as a human doing.